Hello there and welcome to the Glow Up Method. This is the place. No, this is the space for you to discover who you are, to share your stories, to listen to other people's stories, to be a part of someone's story, all in this quest to create your own story, to create this story, this life of magic that is exactly the way you want it to be. And will it always be flawless and perfect? No, but you are on this endeavor to live a life that makes you proud. Hi, my name is Natasha, and I am so blessed and lucky to be here with you today. I am super pooped. It is super late. It's been one of those days, like, it feels like it's the longest day ever. I'm like, is this 2 days in one? We had a power outage. I know we get them way too often here. It wasn't even that hot, but it was hot enough. We lost our power. I went to the gym, not in a chair fashion. I actually went back to one of my favorite class. Not like the day or something like that, but like it's my one in town. So I figured, like I didn't have the whole drive to add more like exhaustion into my equation. And I was shocked at my stamina. I was like, especially with all my iron issues and all that stuff, like I actually did it. Like I actually did it. I actually was in there for 50 minutes doing a workout. And granted, yeah, I stopped a couple times and got water in between songs. And there were quite a few moves I couldn't do. Like I just did not have that mobility any longer. And then there were other ones that I just felt was going to be a little bit too unsafe. And so I modified and I did what I can do. And it was like there was this one song in there and it was like something about being back at home. And there was this, like, I felt like tears in my eyes. I was like, yes, like it just feels like this, like part of me, that I've really missed and didn't know existed a long time ago, was back. But I also feel a little more balanced. Like I feel like I now know my life. I have never gone 6 weeks without going to the gym since I started going to the gym. And I almost was fearful of what would happen if I didn't go to the gym. Like that was one of the biggest reasons I did not want to do this procedure, was because I didn't believe in myself. I didn't know for sure for a long time that I would be able to get back, because every other time that I had started a health journey, a weight loss journey, or a weight maintenance journey, I failed. Like I failed. And I failed miserably. Like in my sense, I got up to 300 pounds, and there would be times in there I lost 60 or 30 or 40 or 50 pounds, and I starved myself. I ate 1,200 calories or less. I did burpees till I could barfy. Like I did push-ups, I did sit-ups, I did crunches, I did boot camps, I did all this like torturous stuff. And I would lose the weight, and then I would slowly gain it back. And it usually took me stopping my routine. And I'm really good when I have that momentum. Like that's why I say start small and be consistent. Like it's more important to be consistent and do a little bit every day than it is to be like, I'm going to starve myself for 2 days and then binge eat for 5, right? Like you make more progress this way, and consistent, and it's maintainable, and it's a lifestyle adjustment. And so, I was afraid a lot of times what would happen. Like, number one, like not in even a healing sense, but I was like, what would happen to my body if I just had endless time to eat and I wasn't working out? What would happen to my spirit if my form of self-care was not obtainable? And so, what I often forget is how resilient I am. Like, and how resilient I want to tell the story because you are resilient. Like I forget how resilient I am. I forget that, yeah, I have learned how to live a life that makes me proud. And in order to do that for me is to do things that bring me joy. And while I'm doing the things that bring me joy, is to spread joy while doing it, right? To come in with the best energy as possible. Now, every day I don't come in at a 10, 11, or a 12. There are days I've contended with a lot. My uncle was passing or had recently passed and I was in the gym. There were times when my son's whole trajectory had shifted in a snap of an ACL. There was another time another son had his surgeries. There was times when I was going through a divorce. There were times when I found out my husband had a girlfriend. Like, there were so many things that I've been through in the gym, and I've had some really great belly laughs there, and I've had some bawling out tear cries in there. I've released so much more than weight and fat and calories and sweat in there. I've released this fear of being who I am. For so long when I first started, I didn't want to get things right. Like, I brought that people pleaser with me into there. And so that's why it was really important for me to pretend like I didn't know anybody. Like, just be an absolute wallflower, fly on the wall. That's it. I don't want any attention. I don't want to be seen. I don't want people to know me. I don't even want to know anybody. I want to know me. I want to find out who I am in this environment where I don't know anybody and nobody knows me. And of course, we all know that did not pan out. But for those brief days and hours in which I was anonymous, I was just me, I was able to really release some of those fears, release those worries about the people pleasing, release those fears that I had to get the choreography right, and release the fears that nobody was gonna like this tall lady in the back. Like, I could just release the fears. And, I've had to contend with things. I've said it on here before. It's not a big deal in the scheme of life, but I've had, women in there and tell me, oh, you don't have to make your move so big, or, you don't have to be so loud. And those are true. And I get it. Like, somebody may not be in the mood for like hearing me hollering and having a good time. But on the same turn, there could be somebody who is. And I can't live my life for the person who maybe is and who is or isn't. I'm living my life for me, So like today when I went in the gym, absolutely ecstatic to see my Pleasanton peeps again for the first time. I've seen my Fremont ones a couple times because I went to a party and a class yesterday, but this was my first time seeing my Pleasanton peeps. And so, yeah, I was excited. Yeah, I was screaming. Yeah, people were turning around like, she's back, and, but for the most part, what matters most to me is how I feel, how I felt in there. And I'm not saying I want to hurt anybody else or ruin their workout experience. No, I'm not going to be quiet because perhaps 1 or 2 or 10 people want me to. I'm not going to be loud because 1 or 2 or 10 people want me to. I'm going to just be me. I'm going to just be me. And that's enough. I started thinking a lot today about compassion. And isn't it interesting? Like, it's just an interesting thing to me. And the reason this sparked this is I'm in a coaching program who a wonderful woman is sponsoring. She is creating this entire program. I am one of those people. So I think about it. I do really well when I have like the momentum, when I do the small progress every day. And then if I'm not doing something in it or get off of my routine, something else happens, it's hard for me to catch up. Does that happen to you? Well, it happens to me a lot. So, without giving too much personal information away, this woman has, done so much for me. Like, I know so much more about the Glow Up Method than I did before I started this program. Like, I know she has taught me so much, and I'm so forever grateful for this. But we're people first, right? Like, she's helping me to make this business everything I want it to be. She's giving me the guidelines and strategies and techniques that have been working in other of her clients' businesses and things like that. And I think that's such a gift. But the question that I have, like, the first thing I want to know when I sit down and see her is she has a sibling who is unwell. And so that's my first question is we're people first. We are humans. And I may not be going through the same thing her sister is, but I was just in a hospital, and I did have a complication I didn't anticipate. And her sister does have some medical things that my son has had and my uncle has had. And so like there's this extra layer of healing. And when you have this healing, hurting, like I hurt for her. I feel sad, for her struggle, because it's difficult, and you've been there, and you also know that you have come out of it, right? So you're an inspiration, but there's this like scar, this wound, this lesson that is still carrying inside of you that gives you this extra connection, right? It's not a coincidence, it's an absolute connection. And so I think that that's the beauty of speaking with people. That's the beauty of the Glow Up Method. That's the beauty of being here and having the courage to speak my stories, is that I hope that someone else can make a connection. And through their stories, I am able to connect and reconnect back out to you. Like we're all these symbiotic give and take kind of creatures. And so I think a lot about her sister. I never met her. I actually don't even know her name. But I think about her when I go out and do my own meditation, and I do my own kind of, like I say, I do my own little earthing routine. I don't know anything about these kind of spiritual realms and things like that. Like I've never studied it, but I just kind of follow what's in my heart, what needs to be here, what's worked with my kids when they've had injuries, and now it's my time to practice all these strategies on myself. And I'm telling you, before, my dance used to be my favorite part of my day. Like it really did. And now, more recently, my time sitting out on the driveway, listening to the birds and feeling the sun on my face has been my absolute favorite part of every single day. And I'm so grateful for that. Had it not been for the surgery, had it not been for the complications, had it not been for my own trials, more than likely I wouldn't make the time for this. And I have spent so much time in a driveway looking into nowhere these past few weeks. And I love it. And sometimes I'm out there alone, and sometimes somebody else joins me. But I have this sense of compassion. I have this compassion for those that are around me that have been through it. And I loved that, I felt this connection with her when she said, yeah, I'm talking to my sister about, kind of earthing, about going outside and focusing on what you can see and hear and feel. And I was like, yes, yes. Nobody told me to do this. Nobody suggested I do this. And I knew intuitively that this was what I needed. And that's where I gravitated to. And now I don't know if her sister's doing it or her sister's taught her about it or whatever it is. I just find it absolutely fascinating that somebody on the other side of the country who is also recovering from being in the hospital, has found this so simple technique, right? It's not a prescription. It's not anything wildly, expensive or time consuming. And it's just readily available. And so I really hope that she does take that time, and that she does take that time to connect with herself and connect with nature and connect with something bigger. I saw a bug. I'm not a big bug fan, crawling on my driveway, and then went in the grass. And I had this whole freak out moment. I am not putting my feet back in the grass. Like I've been doing the whole, meditation and getting my roots. I don't know. I do my own little visualization kind of stuff. And I saw that and I was like, listen, I am not the one. Last thing I need to be doing is over here. I'm meditating. Some kind of a bug is crawling up me. I'm going to freak out. I'm going to jump up. I'm going to rip a stitch. Something's going to happen. I know it. So a few days I was like, no. My son's like, you're never putting your feet back in the grass. I'm like, no. And probably I could have been, if I didn't know, he was saying it was like the something of knowledge or something. And he had some kind of terminology for it. And I was like, yes, it is. And I was like, I could have put my feet on hundreds of bugs and it didn't bother me until I knew that this stinking bug was in there. And I was like, and now I know. And then eventually I was like, okay, these last few days, I'm like, I am much bigger than the bug. Like, I'm not going to let this stop me. It's like, I like kind of stomped my feet before I put them there. Like, listen, I'm coming. I'm here. Let me have my moment here. But yeah, I just really want to think a lot today. Like I said, all the stories aside, all my stories aside today, thank God. I thought that thing was going to shut off. I was like, listen, I already spent 20 minutes deleting videos. Please don't do this to me. But all that it is to say is our stories have power. Our stories are part of the fabric of our lives, and not only our lives, but those around us, those who are not even necessarily around us. Like, around us can mean a lot. Like, you could be on the other side of the world listening to this. Around us is your locale. It's not necessarily your zip code or whatever. It's what you use, any form of media you use, anything you use to get information or connection. That's your, that's your product line, your pipeline of coming in. But these stories, your story, they hold the key. They are magic. Your scars, your lessons, your wounds, what you've been through. It's more, this surgery, this procedure, it's more than a line from hip to hip on me. That's the least of this thing. I mean, yeah, it needs to be taken care of so it doesn't pop open and all those kind of things. But it is not everything. It's so much deeper. There's so much more that you can't see. First off, even on a physical level, like, no one can see and understand in this house what it is like to be gutted in this fashion, right? My one son, he doesn't remember being cut from, his belly button to chest. He doesn't remember it, right? My other son with his head, like, he remembers, he does, but that was different, right? So nobody knows. Like, I don't know what it's like to have my knee operated on. I never had that happen. I can have compassion. I can understand the struggle my kids went through or other people I know, but I never lived this experience. I have lived this experience. And so I know the experience of feeling every bump on a road, every imperfection, every reflector, everything that you hit. It feels like your insides are ripping out and you can't even see it on the outside. I know the burning and the stinging and the pain I'm in all the time. I know the bloat and the swelling and how just you feel, because it feels like you're about to pop, because in any given moment you go from 7 months pregnant to 9 months pregnant. That's pretty much, I haven't been under 7 months pregnant, so it feels like. But today I will say this, with all that done. So I have a sense of compassion. We don't know what it is like to be in somebody else's shoes, but sometimes we know we have been in very similar shoes. And when we have been in those shoes, we have this extra set of empathy. We have this extra set of care and compassion. And we want to help our fellow human, our fellow man or woman, to get through that situation. And even if that means we don't have the words or the ability to take it away, sometimes we are there to just listen. And that's such an important thing to do. And so I want to say, you're not alone. Whatever you're experiencing, there is somebody who is experiencing it. Maybe not in your house, maybe not in your town, maybe not in your state, but there is somebody out there. You are not alone. And if they haven't experienced it, oftentimes a family member or friend, colleague, somebody has gone through something similar. So I say all this to say, please remember that it is so important to make connections with other people. It's not just to help you through those hard times. It's to have this ability to also help others in theirs. It's a very, very beautiful part of the human experience. So I say all of this to say thank you for tuning in. Remember to lead with your heart, lead with kindness, share your stories, listen to other stories, learn what you can. And no matter what anybody is doing, don't forget, at the end of the day, we're all humans.